Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Nice to see you. First of all, thanks everyone for subscribing. I know it's a very slow growth by the standards of YouTube, but I'm just glad to anyone who subscribed and just likes the stuff that I do. I know the frequency of the videos, well, it wasn't as consistent as I'd like it to be. And this is the last video in the dark garage because it's nearly done. Well, the wiring is done. The ceilings, as you can see, are no longer black. I need to paint them. I need to finish. Well, it's not gonna be me who will do the wiring. It's already done. I just need. I'm waiting for an electrician to come in and hook everything up. But as I said, first of all, I want to paint it, paint the walls, paint the ceiling. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do probably next week. Well, it's not about the garage, it's about the Lexus. And today we are going to be doing some rust repair, which is, I mean, if you have some déjà vu, you are not very wrong. Let me show you what we're dealing with. If you watched the last video, you can compare to how it was. So I took an angle grinder to everything and yeah, cut a lot of it. I actually straightened up the pinch weld because it was all mangled, and I show you how to do it in a second, very easily with very simple tool that I just figure out that it works much better than a hammer. So before we start, a quick update. I fixed the boost issue. It's boosting at 0.6 psi, which is not a lot, but it's enough for this car. Scary as hell. Not because it's fast, because everything is loose on this car, and that's my next point. When I bought the car, the dude said, well, it was a non-runner, so I couldn't try it on the road, but he said it needs alignment because it pulls to the right. I thought, okay, not a big issue, relatively easy to fix, I suppose. So it took me a while to figure out the non-starting issue. I fixed it, then there was a boost issue. Anyways, all fixed all, and now the car was on the road, and for the last month I was trying to figure out why the car is pulling to the right under acceleration, like really bad. And I went through everything, like literally, if you go on the forum, you can read, you need tracking, you need tires, you need all other bullshit. I mean, it's not bullshit, sometimes it's as easy as mismatched tires. But I tried even putting another set of wheels. I've got a spare set, and with brand new tires. I took it off my RX-8, put it on Lex, hasn't changed a thing. So yeah, Jay pointed out that it might be an axle shaft, and I looked at them and they were fine. You couldn't see anything. Everything was loose. Like, okay, first thing first. Every single arm and bolt and nut on the rear suspension was loose, and by loose I mean finger tight. So it took me a while. I tried tightening everything, hoping that it will fix the issue, and guess what? It didn't. Partly because the root of the issue was in a different place. So it was in the rear because the pulling was only under acceleration, and the moment I would let off the gas, the car would straighten back. Was really sketchy to drive it, so I didn't drive it. And I kept just going through it over and over again, trying to figure out what it was. I changed the tow rods, well, tow arms at the back. I made sure that the alignment is straight. I changed the tension rods, tension arms, whatever you want to call them, on the front. It wasn't a big issue, but one of the bushes was so worn, so at full lock, the driver's side wheel, the front wheel, was rubbing against the arch, and the other side was fine. So I replaced those. The rubbing went away, but the pulling was still there. So I was like, what could it be? And lo and behold, well, Jay was right. Jay, you were right. I've got it on record, so I do admit. As you can see, there's something missing. There is one part of the shaft in the diff on this side, and there's nothing in here. Let me. Oh yeah, it's right there. So sorry for the mess. I was busy yesterday, but as you can see, it showed off. The problem to identify this issue was that there was no play in the shaft when you try to move it, like laterally. There was no play whatsoever. I was lying under the car trying to figure out what it can be, and I was spinning the prop shaft, and this is where I noticed that one of the shafts, the axle shafts, or drive shaft, whatever you want to call them, was ever so slightly moving. Let me show you. You can see like there's literally a little bit of movement when I spin it, and that's what was the issue. So basically, one wheel, the driver's side in my case, wasn't getting any torque whatsoever, and all the torque was going onto the left side, or in my case again, that's the passenger side. That's why every time I would apply any acceleration, the car would start like spinning this way, and that was the issue. I had a spare diff, I bought one to get it welded, but I think we should wait for this. Well, I swapped the diff, and actually it's quite easier than on 350Z, Jay, you remember. So yeah, I swapped the diff and it's fine. It's still a bit sketchy because as I mentioned, I replaced the tension arms on the front with adjustable driftwork ones, and I didn't have the large enough spanner to tighten. I had an adjustable, but the spanner itself was too big. The jaws weren't like, basically I couldn't do up the nut tight enough. So whenever I would drive it like down the street, it would start knocking, it would start pulling to every side. Again, it was really sketchy and dangerous to drive it like that. So I drove it back. I bought a set of huge spanners, and they finally made it. Well, if you're curious and you just want to buy one and you buying tension rods from Driftwork, it's a 36mm spanner. Right, so sorry for a very long intro, but the car is getting to a point where it's safe to drive and it feels safer-ish. Well, not ish, it's fine. As a car, it's fine, it feels fine. I don't quite like the brakes. They feel a bit spongy and soft. I don't know, maybe all Lexus is like that. But I'm gonna bleed them, probably invest in new brake pads. But for now, the only major issue that is kind of worrying me, well, not worrying, is my priority number one, is the rust at the seals, and that's a whole video. Basically, if you have nice 200 and you live in the UK or any other any other country with similar environment and similar issue where they put a ton of salt on the roads, this area is gonna go first. In my case, this rear section of the wheel well has gone as well. There was like literally nothing in here. It was all mangled and soft. I don't even know the shape of this area, and so I just like cut everything out. You can see this gusset is gone. I'll show you how it's supposed to look like on the other side. The pinch weld all gone. So this is a little bit of an extreme case, and this is the worst side, simply because there is nothing to weld to. I need to recreate this pinch weld that goes along this line. Then I want to weld a small panel to reinforce this gusset. Ideally, it would be a good thing to weld something in here to kind of restore this side of the panel. I don't know if you can see, but it's also it's not there. It's partially there. I also thinking about welding a small plate up here just to give it some strength, like something small. And yeah, as you know, my history with welding, probably the welding is going to be done by Jay. But yeah, it's not that difficult, but it's a lot of small parts that have to be like welded first and then shaped on the car when they're here. The outer section is the easiest. Also, this side is the inner side of the seal, so all this thing is gone. This is where I'm just gonna weld a plate, probably with another like extension to reinforce this pinch weld. And yeah, I also bought these repair seals from eBay. I paid 80 something pounds for 2 of them. They right, a little bit dented, not a big deal for me because I'm not replacing the whole thing. I just need basically one would have been enough, I think, and I could have saved some money, but it's not end of the world. The issue with them is if you have your seals more or less intact, you will know that they kind of flare out a little bit, and this is just stamped steel, so they don't replicate the shape of the end of the seal. That's why I have to like shape it up a little bit. But the issue is it's now not quite missing the pinch weld. Would I recommend buying them? I think yes. Again, one is enough to repair this. So if you want to save some money, just buy one. It's a good starting point. I mean, you don't have to, like, there's very intricate shape here, so it would have been pain shaping it up by yourself. So it's a good starting point. If you're really good with fabricating, maybe you can just make it yourself. But in my case, I think I'm just gonna save myself a little bit of time with these ones. Yeah, so the plan for this video, yeah, it's a very long intro. I've been talking for almost 14 minutes and it's gonna be uncut because everything is important. Yeah, so I will start some montage going right now when I was cutting out, straightening the pinch weld, and after that I will start making some patch panels, and hopefully I'll explain as I go what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Hopefully in your repair you can, I mean, I'm not an expert and I'm doing it for the second time. So I'll take everything with a pinch of salt and go and watch something else if you wanna start. But I hope it might be a good starting point for you. So without further ado, you know what I mean. Let's start it.
Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
A very quick overview of tools and chemicals that I'm using in this process. So angle grinder with a cutting disc, this little belt sander, really helpful for getting into really tight spots for cleaning rust and just making edges less sharp after the angle grinder. Ask me how I know. I cut myself so many times, that's why I'm wearing these. These are very thick gloves. You can get them from eBay. I bought 2 pairs. I lost one in the fire. This one's still going, but I'm probably gonna buy another one. Chisel, I got it from a cardboard sale. The best tool to remove under seal. I mean, it's slow, but it's less messy. Different bunch of hammers in all sizes and shapes helps to, well, with everything. And in terms of chemicals, I'm using the Genelite rust converter. It's not sponsored or anything, that's stuff that I found works best. It creates this very nice tough film that holds pretty good, and it can be spray painted over top and it doesn't react at all, at least with the stuff that I've been using. Your mileage might vary. Also, I'm using the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing. It's rust applied direct to rust or bare metal, so it's kind of like 2-in-1 thing. Basically, just a primer. Why I'm using this and not the standard primer? I've got some primer for painting. That's high build-up U-pole, and it's okay. Why I'm not using it for inner cavities? Reason is very simple. Over time, the standard primer absorbs water, and you don't want that. You want it to be as hydrophobic, I think that's the word, as possible. So I hope that this is a little bit better, simply because it might have some chemicals that react with rust and just repel water. So yeah, this is it. It works fine. It's a bit pricey. You might find cheaper alternatives, but yeah, that's what I use on all my cars. And now we will try to create a new pinch weld, starting from here, going all the way to up here, so where this inner side of the seal is, and it should give us a good starting point for all other repair panels, including this gusset, which I don't want to cut too much of, simply because this dimple is still holding. It's still nice and solid, so it gives that rigidity to the metal. This one will just, as I said, we'll probably box it out like this and weld it straight to the new gusset, well, this extension. And then I think we will try to shape the outer side, and the last is gonna be this section. It's gonna be a little bit tricky because I don't have a welder, and a welder would help us to like just basically tack weld everything in and shape it on the car. But we work with what we have. Yeah, guys, be careful with your welders, otherwise your wives might not be happy to have one around. Yep. Anyways, let's start. So, as I said, we are starting with the new pinch weld, and this is our template for it. It's a little bit short-ish, but overall I think it's about the right length. So we're gonna cut it here. I'm still thinking, how should I weld it? to the existing stuff? Should I drop this thing first? So what I'm saying, should I start by recreating this side and then weld the pinch weld to it and then somehow fold it over to this side and weld it from inside, or should I weld it to the outer edge, which is all wavy and not super straight? Yeah, it's not as simple as it looks. I mean, maybe for some people who do it for a living, but for me it's not very straightforward. So maybe, just maybe, I should start with this thing, simply because it will give me some reference and a point to weld to. So I just don't want to weld to the edge. I don't think it's the best idea, although I might not have other options. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll need it anyways. I'll just thinking, can I? So the idea is I'm gonna cut it out just about so. And probably fold this section in, so this way we might have something better. I hope so. So we just need to cut this like so and fold it in, kinda. We are shaping our template as we go. Yep, so the idea is, yeah, see, I need to cut more from here. So now it can fold down, and here I need probably about 10, no, I think it's closer to 13-14 mil on this side, so it would join this area and maybe make it a little bit, yeah, I'm not sure about this one actually. I might improvise a little bit. So overall it's looking okay. I am gonna leave this excess simply because it's easier to trim it down rather than add more material. So that's the idea. Now we can just go and trace the shape on a piece of metal and cut it out. For this particular panel I'm using 1.2 mild steel, and probably it's a little bit an overkill, but I donated all my thinner sheets to Jay's car, so it's in his unit right now. But for this one, because it's gonna be a base for our new pinch weld, I think that's about the right thickness and it should be enough. I wouldn't recommend going any higher, simply because the difference of thickness in metal is going to be too great and you will potentially find it hard to weld. Find the right amperage for different thickness, so you want to try to make it as close as possible so you don't burn through thinner metal using high voltage and high amperage, and you use your what's called your weld is hot enough to actually melt the thick one, a thicker metal. So yeah, it's all about the right materials and how to use them. So yeah, I'm just gonna trace it and cut it out. I'm not gonna film the entire process because it's boring, and I'll show you the final. So this is what we have as our, well, as I said, final piece, final product. And now we just need to try and make it work on the car. That's the tricky one. Yeah, could have been a bit longer, I think, but overall it's not too bad. I think I can extend it with another piece, maybe, just maybe. Yeah, let's start shaping it up. Basically, yeah, I need my wires to make this band a little bit more precise, I think. Okay, now we can shape a little bit better, I think. Yeah, there's still an issue. I have no idea how to weld that. Okay, so I think I made a mistake. Pinch weld was going straight instead of bending this way. So yeah, I think it has to be more like this. So you can see there is a triangle shape forming up. So that's what I miscalculated, simply because I didn't have a reference. But now what I need to do is just to make another one, but with more material on this side, so I can fold it over here, and this way it should be okay-ish. Well, apparently everything is way simpler than I initially thought. So all you need to do is to cut this shape. I'll show you a template in a sec. Basically it just goes in like this, and you have, I mean, obviously it has to be shaped a little bit, but overall that's how it looks. And then after that you can just like weld another panel here, and everything is gonna be nice, tight and reinforced. So yeah, next step is to make the same thing for another side, and yeah, something that I can reinforce this gasket with, and yeah, just one plate to kind of finish the inner seal, and hopefully that's it. Speaking of the template, so I already outlined the shape for the other side, but basically it's very simple. This is the pinch weld, this is the side that goes inside, and this, you don't even need to have this little tab, you can cut it off right here, but I just decided to leave it. We'll give it a little bit of strength, and yeah, will be easier to shape it on the car, I mean other panels. Yeah, overall that's very simple. If you have a welder, you can do it all by yourself. I mean, it's quite a big job, and don't expect it to get it done in one day or a weekend. I think it's for like a couple of weekends, but it's totally doable. And the car is gonna be not as good as new, but we're gonna extend its life for at least another couple of years, which is great. And this is it for this video. In the next one, I hopefully will meet you in the J's unit, and we're gonna weld it all together. and that's gonna be another video of its own. So take care, stay safe, and see you in the next one.
Anywhere you go.